Choosing Home by ginnyrules27, Chapter 10. Haddy sat on the steps of Olympus, his arms crossed as he glared at the gate in front of him. It was completely ridiculous that he was sent up here like a child, while Mal and Uma got to fight off Freddie and Audrey. Wasn't he a member of the Rats? Same as CJ? Same as Harry? Why weren't they being sent up to Olympus too? Mal could claim it was because he was her little brother, but he could still help. If word got back to the Isle that he'd been sent up to Olympus, he'd be the laughingstock of the crew. I mean, Squeaky and Squirmy weren't even sent up here. Granted, they're not godlings, but still, I'm at least in the double digits, even if I'm under 15. If I got sent to Olympus, they should have as well, or at least sent back to the Isle. It's still got the barrier after all, and Sammy's on the ship. She'd look after them, he thought as he continued to glare at the gate. It was as if he thought if he glared hard enough he could get them to open on his own. He had tried convincing Herky to take him back to Auradon. It almost worked too until his grandmother found them preparing to leave. The worst part was that Herky had just gotten back from Jane's party. So clearly it wasn't too dangerous for godlings to be down in Auradon, even if Freddie and Audrey were acting as a second-class version of Maleficent. What with them casting sleeping curses willy-nilly? Nope, still not dangerous for Hillis, Herky or Macaria. Just him. The worst part was he knew what Freddie was like. He couldn't call himself a pirate and a rat if he didn't. It was one thing to sideline Ryan, who was still on the Isle, but CJ at least got something. And no, he definitely wasn't spying on what was going on in Auradon through Mal's mental link, considering CJ had been still on the Isle when he got banished to Olympus. And no, Herky definitely didn't teach him how to do that before he went to Jane's party.
Haddy?
What? Haddy asked, turning around to see Apollo coming towards him. Oh, it's you. Guess you drew the short straw. Every hour, one of the gods would come up to him and try to lure him away from his spot in front of the gate. Every hour, they failed. Though Demeter gave the best shot at luring him away with a promise of lambasting every stupid decision Zeus had ever made to the god's face. His grandmother knew him well. Or rather knew his father well, considering everyone seemed to know how much Hades hated Zeus. In all honesty, maybe it'd be better to say that both of his parents hated Zeus, considering his mum had come back from Olympus steaming mad a few times after she'd come back from the Isle for Mal.
I see we're still pouting,
Apollo asked as he sat down next to Haddy, pulling the young boy out of his thoughts. There is no we in the situation. And I'm not pouting, Haddy said to him as he rolled his eyes. Honestly, you can tell where all of Zeus's brains went to. Athena. And Artemis, actually, but there's no way she'd teach me how to shoot a bow and arrow. I mean, I know she favoured some men in the old stories that Dad would tell me. Like Orion and Hippolytus, not to mention any hunters she protected. But Mum and Mal would have her head if I dared do anything dangerous. Honestly, it's hard to believe they let me around swords if this is how Mal's going to act around a threat.
You want to go on a ride on my chariot?
Apollo asked, amping up his voice to try to make it sound like it was the most fun thing ever. Does your chariot allow me to go and help Mal and Uma? Haddy asked, rolling his eyes at the attempt. In all honesty, flight didn't impress him. He had grown up with access to a ship after all. Now, if it was the chance to ride in his dad's chariot, that'd be kinda cool. He wasn't going to lie.
No?
Haddy shook his head. Nice try, but I'm not a god. I may have been born with a divine background, but I'm a pirate like my sister before me. And we don't hide while fighting's going on.
Not in the mood to talk, I take it,
Apollo muttered. Not with someone who thinks that because Mum adopted Mal, that Mal's not hers, Haddy shot back.
How did you? You weren't even there when I said that.
Mum rants. And sometimes she forgets the room's not empty when she does so, Haddy said with a nod. Now, if you don't mind, I'm busy." With that he turned his head back to the gate and stared at it as if willing it to open. Apollo sighed and got up, making his way back to the collection of gods who were milling around near the top of Olympus.
"Well, that was a bust," he said. "I thought kids liked chariots."
"Seriously?" Artemis shook her head. "The kid's from the Isle. He's not going to be impressed with a shiny thing like going for a ride in your chariot."
"What exactly have you tried, Artemis?"
"Has Ares tried his luck? Kid from the Isle. He might be willing to leave him with some training."
"You really think Demeter's going to let Ares anywhere near her grandson? Not to mention Persephone when she comes back up here to check on him."
Hermes shook his head. "Honestly, you are all going about this the wrong way. I know how to get young Hades to leave his post without getting Demeter or Persephone mad enough to kill one of us."
"Oh, really?" Apollo rolled his eyes. "Teach us then."
"Gladly," Hermes said with a smirk as he fluttered over to Hades. Hades scoffed as he saw Hermes approach. "You're kidding. 2 in a row? What, are you guys bored or something today?"
"Hey, we're immortal. We get bored sometimes," Hermes told him. "Did your sister ever teach you how to make those smoke bombs your mum told us about?"
"Yeah? Why?"
"You want to make some and throw them at Zeus?"
Hermes asked, and for the first time in a while, Hades felt his will to stay at his watch weaken. Making smoke bombs was probably the quintessential rat hobby, not including sparring and face-offs with the angels. The latter he wasn't allowed to do yet, but at least he could stay with CJ and Ryan. "I mean, I could make them with you, but why do you want to? I thought you all worship Zeus."
Hermes chuckled. "I'm a god of mischief, young godling. I may worship Zeus, as you say, but that doesn't mean I won't relish the chance to pelt him with some smoke bombs. Now, come on. How often are you going to get a chance to do so?"
You have a point there," Hades said as he bit his lip, glancing at the gate. Leaving his post would almost be like admitting defeat, admitting that he was too young to help Mal out in the fight. "It's bad enough Gil took me below deck during Cotillion, but if I can't help Mal out now..." Then again, Hermes is right. When else am I going to get the opportunity to pelt Zeus with smoke bombs? "You're good, you know that?"
"Does that mean you're going to make some smoke bombs of me?" Hermes asked with a small smile.
"Are we going to pelt them at Zeus afterwards?"
"Of course! I'm a god of my word after all," Hermes said, and Hades grinned.
"Lead the way,"
Hades said as he got up. Hermes chuckled as he fluttered off, Hades following in his wake. The young boy, of course, failed to notice the stunned look on the other gods' faces. "What did Hermes promise him?" Apollo asked.
"My best guess. Something that allows the kid to embarrass Zeus," Athena said as she walked up.
"I mean, Apollo, are you really surprised that our cousin's not the most thrilled with our father?" "In all honesty, sometimes I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that we're fully grown and have a preteen cousin."
"Dear gods, did I get all the brains?"
Artemis muttered. "Of course not. I'm the god of medicine after all," Apollo said, looking almost offended. "But you've got to admit, it's rather shocking, isn't it? The last time we had a young family member was Hercules."
"All right, I'll give you that one." Athena nodded.
"Not to mention our other cousin, Hades' sister, is to be Queen of Auradon." Apollo shook his head. "I honestly can understand Demeter's protectiveness at times. They're practically infants compared to us."
"Do you think we should go and make sure Hades and Hermes haven't caused an explosion or something? I don't think Demeter or Persephone would be all that pleased if that were to happen."
"Good point," Athena nodded. The three of them rushed off in the direction they saw Hades and Hermes run off. Little did they know that said god and godling were closer than they thought.
"Seriously, we ducked behind this column and they still didn't see us?" Hades asked as soon as he was sure the coast was clear.
Apollo was leading the charge. Hermes shrugged. I think it's the sun exposure.
That's what Des says too.
Hadi nodded and started to make his way back to the stairs. Whoa, where are you going?
Back to my post,
Hadi said as he sat down.
I thought we were just pulling a prank on the other three.
Well, yeah, and that was fun, but I thought you wanted to make smoke bombs.
Hadi shrugged. I can make them with Mal when I get back down to Oridon.
Hermes sighed. Okay, kiddo. I don't usually do the heavy talks. That's more Peleos' territory as god of emotions. But I'll give it a whirl. What's eating you?
I don't want to talk about it.
Hadi muttered. You have a god as a captive audience, kid. Use it.
Also known as whenever I go to visit my dad.
Hadi shot back. Hermes sighed. Okay, so the preteen years are not going to be fun for Hades or Persephone, he thought. At least they had one round with Mal, so they know what to expect a little. I mean, yeah, everyone's supposedly different according to Hebe. What with her being the goddess of youth, or the goddess of the prime of life, depending on who you ask.
Hadi sighed as he rested his hands on his knees. I don't like being sidelined, he muttered.
No one does, Hermes told him. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
You don't get it, Hadi told him. You stayed up here, on Olympus. You guys don't have to worry about anything. Not since Zeus and Hercules defeated Dad and threw him on the Isle after you fished him out of the river Styx. How did you do that, by the way?
Long story, Hermes said. In all honesty, he had no idea how they managed that, since he hadn't been there. Styx would probably know, but Hermes wasn't sure Demeter and Persephone wanted Hadi talking to him. Plus, however they managed to fish Hades out of the river would probably end up sounding very embarrassing. So let's let the god keep a bit of his rep around his son, shall we?
Anyway, Hadi sighed, it's different on the Isle. Oh sure, Mal and Uma tried to make it sound everyone under 15 stays innocent, but I mean, my father's the god of the dead. Do you really think I could stay all that innocent?
That's a valid point, I think.
Besides that, I'm part of Mal's crew,
Hadi said. It was as if someone had pressed a button and now he couldn't stop releasing the information.
I know what Freddy's like. Everyone on the Isle knows what he's like. And yet I get sent up to Olympus like a naughty kid rather than being allowed to help.
You know, Hermes said, I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that Mal's maybe not sidelining you because of your age.
Why else would she be doing it then?
Hadi asked, tilting his head. You said it yourself. Everyone on the Isle knows what this Freddy character is like. Hermes said. That would include Mal, I would assume. Not to mention the fact that Mal's a bit older than you, so she's had a bit more time to see Freddy in action, so to speak. Something tells me Freddy won't care about your age, and might try to hurt you to get to Mal.
I didn't think about it like that, Hadi said with a slight frown. He'd been so wrapped up in his pity party. He didn't even begin to think about the fact that Freddy would definitely be going after Mal. I mean, that should have been obvious, though. Freddy hasn't been shy on his goal of eliminating witches when we were on the Isle. And by witches he meant anyone who practiced magic. Honestly, I think the only reason he left Evie alone was because she didn't have any magic despite her mum being the evil queen. He'd probably go after Zevon and Yzla next if he actually managed to be successful in his goal of hurting Mal and Uma.
Hey, it's okay, Hermes said. Your uncle's Zeus. I'm pretty sure selfishness is a family trait there.
Isn't Zeus your dad?
Hence why I can say such things. Hermes chuckled. Now, come on. You want to go make those smoke bombs?
Really? Hadi asked, his face lighting up. I thought that was just a ploy to get me away from the gate.
Well, it was. But, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but Olympus is kind of same old, same old. Let's mix it up a little. Shall we?
Haddie grinned and nodded. The two of them sped off once more, but this time they truly were going to create some smoke bombs. Haddie tried to remember Mal's instructions to the letter, especially since Olympus-made smoke bombs were going to be different than Isle-made smoke bombs.
Alrighty, what colours do we have?
Hermes asked about half an hour later. 3 blue, 4 purple, 2 gold and 1 orange, Haddie said with a smirk.
Think that's enough?
We can always make more if it's not.
Hermes chuckled. I knew I liked you. So, after this, you want to go over some ideas for a pesky gossip rag you Oridon prep kids have been dealing with? I've hit them with some stuff, but I want to keep some things under my hat in case they start acting up again.
Sure, but you're a god. Can't you just threaten smiting?
Of course, but you don't want to lead with that. You lead with that, and they don't do what you want, and you don't smite them. Well then, the threat of smiting loses its power, and then no one fears it anymore.
Haddie nodded. That makes sense. It's why Dad never tries to go full anger mode at first. He likes letting people stew in their own fear first if they ever meet him while they're alive and made him angry.
Hades is definitely someone you don't want to get heated up.
Hermes nodded.
Ready with those smoke bombs?
Haddie nodded and smirked as he saw Zeus rounding a corner.
Sure, Persephone. Haddie can come and stay on Olympus. It won't be any trouble,
Zeus muttered a few minutes later as he wiped purple and blue smoke from his face and saw Haddie and Hermes run off. Still, there was a little part of him that couldn't help but smile a little at that. Happy that Haddie had finally stopped his guard activity on the steps of Olympus.
But did he have to involve smoke bombs on the day he was going to a council of the gods? Don't say a word,
he warned as he walked into the council chambers. The gods and goddesses who were there nodded, though Zeus could hear some muffled snickers.
Hey, Zeus! Love the new look. Blue is definitely your colour,
Hermes said as he flew in and hovered by Zeus.
I know you're behind this. Now, Zeusy, baby, you know I'm the picture of innocence,
Hermes said with a chuckle, and Zeus shook his head to start the meeting. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that.
Oh boy, that was funny, but also really heartwarming, and like you can see where Haddie's coming from. As a younger sibling myself, I know how it feels to be, if not shunted, then sheltered, you know? And I like that Hermes just came and spoke to him like, okay, what's eating ya? I'm sorry if my voice for him was inconsistent. I was trying to find a way that was warm yet mischievous at the same time, and I hope I managed to get that across. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.